Hello, Chris Downham here. I want to do I'm going to say short video, but I've not planned it, so I could end up rambling on a little bit. And the idea is about this video is going to be about what I've sort of been learning over the last, well, years, but predominantly 3 months, with regards to health, energy, I suppose weight loss, because that comes into the equation a little bit. Apologies if I'm squinting a little bit, not used to in England with sun for filming. In fact, I'm not used to filming. If I look that way, which apparently you're meant to have the sun into your face, but then that's like, can't see it at all. Oof, ow, don't look into the sun. And the reason I want to do this is, I think when you're interested in something, it's like if you buy a red car, suddenly everyone's got red cars. But the more I've looked into this, I've seen that it's clearly of a massive interest to lots and lots of other people. I've also had quite a lot of people who have privately just asked for my opinion on certain things, have been inspired by what I've been doing. I mean, I say I've been doing this for 3 months. I've really no idea if it's 2 months, 3 months, 4 months. What I'm doing is, it's not a diet, it's a change of diet. It's something for the whole and the rest of my life, and I love it, and it makes me feel absolutely amazing. But then I've been seeing other things which have been predominantly about weight loss, or about getting six-pack abs, or about like building muscle, and that seems to cause quite a lot of contradiction to the stuff that I was trying to aim myself at, which was about health, lack of sickness, longevity, energy, feeling brilliant from the inside out, rather than getting fixated on looking brilliant on the outside to other people. Although clearly no one wants that, it's always nice to look as good as you can. So that's what I thought I'd just put a few thoughts about, because as I say, we do a lot of research, there's so much conflicting information that ended up with a situation where someone's telling you can do this, and someone else is telling you you shouldn't do that, and it was all very contradictory. And I think it depends, you can get pulled in two different ways, thinking I want health and energy and vitality, and I also want big muscles and six-packs and to look amazing, and they can conflict, although some people genetically can have both of those very, very easily. Other people store fat naturally in other places. So where shall I start? Well, I suppose I came from, first of all, thinking about an alkaline based diet, putting as little toxins in my body as possible, getting rid of as much, if not all, of the acid foods into my body. So there'd be things like meat, dairy, caffeine, alcohol, flours, stodge, bread, all that sort of stuff. Try and cut that out and replace that more with leafy greens, green drinks, juicing, with the result that my body becomes a lot more alkaline, and at the same time trying to clear out the pipes, if that makes sense. I think if you have done, and I was never really bad, but if you have done years and years and years of doing the wrong thing, and the wrong thing I think for a lot of people would be a more carb-based, low-fat approach to diet, basically the diets and the information that you might get given from the general medical community, stuff you see on telly, so much of it is nonsense, from what I can see now. So just to try, as well as just the normal lifestyle of processed foods, fast foods, restaurants, alcohol, coffees. I was a coffee snob, but 6 months ago, loved my coffee. So there's all that sort of damage to repair, and I think in order to do that, you've got to sort of cleanse the pipes a little bit, by properly detoxing, and that can be what you put in, but also maybe enemas, colonics. Go to some experts about that sort of stuff is going to do damage as well. And then I started thinking a bit more about how do we take in food. If you're eating food that looks bulky and dry and you're swallowing it down quickly, then that's just going to sit in your stomach. If your stomach has got a lining from carbs and breads and milk and cheese, then it's very hard for the nutrients, or even though the food you're probably eating is pretty nutrient poor, usually cooked, so it's dead, and poor to start with, and non-organic, so it might have more pesticides in it than it has decent nutrients. So that stuff goes into your stomach. Your body's able to get very little nutrients out of it. It sits in there for a long time, starts to rot, clearly comes through you eventually, not so pleasantly and a bit smellily, if that was a word. So I think all of that can be changed by things being cleaned out inside, so you've not got this lining in your stomach and your intestines and everything, but then taking in the food, really good food, leafy greens, fruits. Don't be scared of, don't have too much fruit, obviously you shouldn't have too much of anything, but people say that have a load of sugars in, yeah, but it's natural sugars, very different to processed sugars, so I think that's a lot more digestible by your body. And I think what we've got to consider is exactly what I said then, it's got to be easily digestible by your body, so stuff can go in, and very quickly after going into your body it can be absorbed whilst it's still predominantly alive, whilst the enzymes are still active. So if you're juicing or you're blending stuff and you're smashing it into a pulp, you want to get that down you within sort of half an hour whilst it's still really full of life and energy and rampant with nutrients. Whilst so doing that in a juice form goes straight down, the body gets into it straight away, and it's still quality. And I think we do the opposite for a lot of stuff. We put in crap food, and then we just woof it down, goes into a stomach that's already overburdened, we're not getting the nutrients out of it, you're feeling hungry still, because you're basically, although you're fat and your stomach, which is only sort of this big, you've put in this much food, because you're actually starving nutritionally, so you need to put in more and more. Like you can't just eat one slice of pizza, although one slice of pizza should be enough sort of food, because there's so much little in there for you. You have to have more and more and more and more, and it's all dead. And so one thing I have thought is by juicing your food, and you can juice it either by using a juicer clearly, or you can blend it, which breaks it down with a really good blender like a Vitamix or a Blendtec. Not, I mean, you can use any blender you've got, it's better than no blender, but you want to break stuff down almost to a cellular level, really smash it, get that in you straight away, then that's easily absorbed. Or chew. This is something I have to try and be really mindful about now if I'm eating more solid food, is to chew until it's like a paste in your mouth. And actually that your body's very clever, because that's naturally what we should be doing, and it releases all the correct enzymes in your body. So if you're having carbs, your mouth will release one thing. If you're having proteins, your mouth will release a different enzyme, and that's why you shouldn't really usually have those two things together to help break down that food, so you're already starting to digest food in your mouth. Very, very important. So I think that side of things, it makes sense to me, and I think that's what should be done. So if we're talking about juicing stuff, we're talking about, you know, some shakes, fine. Probably not as good as getting the live enzymes, but to be honest, buying tons of veggies and juices and juicing them can be a bit of a fag. I mean, they taste wonderful, but it can be a bit of an arse. So I think not as good as that, but still very, very good, is buying some sort of nutritionally blended shake. Can have everything in it, but probably then be careful what you put again with it. So then, what was the antithesis? What was the opposite of this that I was starting to find out more about? And this is because I suppose when you're doing, and I don't mind doing a load of research on YouTube, or I've read a load of books and a load of audio books and stuff as well, but found a lot about, you know, get six-pack abs, and it's always tempting, you know, we all want them, so I'm nearly getting them, but started looking, and there was lots of stuff about high protein diets, you know, eat as much fat as you want, it's like the Atkins, eat as much meat as you want, as much fish as you want, as much chicken as you want, and you'll lose weight. Yeah, great, but Christ, if you're, what type of meat, chicken and fish are you eating? Use your common sense here. Is this sensible to eat as much as you want? Are you getting a balanced nutritional diet, or are you being healthy? Are you being vital, or are you putting toxic, acidic, you know, food in your body that, although it's allowing you to lose weight and build muscle, is that making you healthy? Is it making you vital? Is it going to give you extra years in your life? Is it going to keep you disease free? No, it's not. Make you look good. So if you're trying to attract a spouse or something, then that might be alright for a short-term stop, but I think the real pursuit here is absolute energy. And I think if you do the right thing, food, and nutrition wise and gentle exercise, and you can exercise harder if you want to become bionic and stuff like that. I'm starting to try and do a bit of CrossFit at the moment, which is bloody hard, but I want to take my body with regards to what it can do to the next level. I'm not doing it necessarily to look awesome. I'm 38, I'm been with Jem for nearly 20 years, and I'm quite happy with how I am on that side of things. So I think there is a lot of contradiction out there as to what's healthy, and I think people have got to understand, what am I after? Am I after health and vitality, longevity, or am I after looking good? Is it about me from the inside out, or other people looking at me from the outside, and I'm not really bothered about what's happening on the inside? I think if that is what you're really obsessed with, then you probably need to have another conversation with yourself as well about what really is important. Okay, so that's probably a brief rundown of where I am at the moment, and I think hopefully if you can start off with thinking, what am I trying to achieve? Why do I want to do it? What's important to me? Is it seeing the grandkids grow older? Is it living, well, you know, I suppose you can't just say living to 100. Why do you want to live to 100? Why are you wanting to make these changes? And then after you've assessed that, then it's not necessarily about getting six-pack abs or stuff like that. It's about vitality and energy. And then I think once you've narrowed into why and how, you know, the vital, the energy and that side of things, then I think you're better placed to find out what you're actually going to do to do it, and start investigating the proper things like hydration, the correct oils, balance, nutrition, juicing, green veggies, maybe a vegan lifestyle, maybe introducing 80% raw vegan, something like that. It's very hard to find a substantial argument about that. I mean, the protein one's absolute nonsense. Look at gorillas and cows and elephants and all the biggest animals in the world. They're raw vegans, so it doesn't have to be done that way. And then start thinking as well about the other things that you hear about, just taking this one shake a day, or just eating tons and tons of meat, or taking steroids or some of the other stuff just to get big. Yeah, it's crazy. So I'll leave you with that, welcoming any comments as always. Hopefully I haven't rattled on too long, but that's the problem when you don't plan anything and you just dash out into the garden. I'm dressed up nice and smart, usually in my trunks when it's sun like this, because I was meant to go on an appointment to help someone and they cancelled. What have they missed out on? Alright, take care, see you later.